NFL free picks. I'm going to give you my best bet. I'm going to give you my top prop. I'm going to give you my upset special, and I'm going to build out a nice little parlay, 5-leg parlay for you guys to get paid. Week 1 NFL. Let's go.
If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player performance with J.A. Cavalier.
It's here. It's back. It's crazy to think. It feels like just yesterday we were filming our NFL Super Bowl show. Boy, we scored this. We scored the fuck out in the Super Bowl, dominated the board. But now here we're back, another NFL season. Hard to imagine anybody has had an NFL season like I had last year. 63% overall, closer to 70% on my private plays. But we look to do it again. You're here right now. Go ahead, smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing this each and every week. We go through the entire slate. We tell you who we like. We tell you why we like them. Hopefully making you guys smarter players along the way. NFL player performance is going to start right now.
Back it up. One more time. All right, let's see that again.
Here's your NFL Week 1 preview. Micah Parsons leaving Dallas is the first time a Cowboy found a way out of Texas without Jerry Jones suing for custody. If Caleb Williams threw the ball as often as he selfies his nails, he'd already be in the Hall of Fame. Calvin Ridley is Cam Ward's main target. He's the only wideout who checks Vegas odds before his route tree. J.J. McCarthy doesn't run an offense. He runs a coin flip. Heads, you win a Super Bowl. Tails, you draft another quarterback in 2 years. The Saints are already tanking so hard for Arch Manning, you'd think Bourbon Street opened a water slide straight to the Superdome. Bryce Young trying to get Panthers fans to fall in love with them is like trying to convince a vegan to eat Bojangles out of pity. Joe Burrow spends every Sunday night pleading with his defense like he's at family therapy. Guys, please, can you pretend you've heard of tackling? Mike Evans is the only dude who can roll out of bed, put on cleats, and accidentally stumble into a 1,000-yard season. Tua dodging concussions is just Miami's warm weather version of Frogger. Mike Vrabel would literally cut off his nuts for an 8-win season. Too bad all he gets is 8 months of off-season regret. Anthony Richardson was bummed to hear he wasn't the starter. He won't have an excuse to tap out of games when he comes in halfway through the third now. Travis Hunter is so much like the next Deion, he's going to leave the NFL for a TV deal halfway through his contract. Vegas is so desperate for QB play, they started asking Tom Brady to come back as soon as he lost $10 at the blackjack table. Matt Stafford showing up to the Rams locker room is like someone's dad crashing a frat party with a Super Bowl ring and lower back pain. Baker Mayfield is fighting so hard not to turn into Florida Man. But at this point, he's one pickup truck and a gator bite away from a mugshot and a visor. Pat Mahomes begging Travis Kelce not to retire for Taylor is the first time a quarterback ever competed with the Grammys for a tight end. That's your NFL Week 1 preview.
Thanks, Tessa, and welcome back. So a lot of new things going on here with Why Lose, a lot of new things going on with player performance. Let me give you guys the rundown real quick, and then we'll get into the board for the weekend. Okay, so first off, we're going to be doing live shows every Monday and every Thursday. We're going to break down the Monday game. We're going to break down the Thursday game. It'll be me, Luke Shuey, Coach Rick Bowe, and probably Shark for Monday and Thursday. And then Friday, we're going to go through the entire slate for Sunday. Again, me, Luke Shuey, Coach Rick Bowe, and Shark. They'll give you their best bets. We'll talk about some other games and lock you guys in for Sunday. And then on Sunday morning is going to be where the magic happens. We're going to do a live show every Sunday morning, but that's not going to be about us. That's going to be about you guys, our way of giving back to the community. It's a Q&A, strict Q&A on Sunday morning. But you guys are just going to chime in, ask us questions about the game on the board. If you guys are leaning one way or another, you guys want another opinion, or you guys want more information on that particular game, you guys ask. We're going to answer. So a lot of things happen, and then this player performance is going to be mostly me, and we'll mix in a little bit of Luke Shuey. This way I can get in and out of each game, let you guys see how I'm looking at the games. Again, hopefully making you guys smarter players along the way. So here we are, NFL player performance, and first up,
Buccaneers versus Falcons.
Buccaneers are laying anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5, depends where you shop. Total here is at 47.5. So this game has been pretty much a mixed bag of nuts. On one side, I have a lot of sharps that I know sitting here and telling me that they like the Bucks. On the other side, I have a lot of sharps that I know sitting here telling me they like the Falcons. So I say, fuck it, bypass the game completely. Let's target the total here and go under the posted total. And I know that's contrarian to what people think, especially of a game in a dome. But look, Tampa's defense, nasty last year. Top 20 in defensive success rate. They held opponents to just over 5 yards per play. The Bucks front seven, led by Vea, should control the trenches. Atlanta's defense wasn't the best last year, but they did address that in the offseason. They drafted Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. They also took Xavier Watts in to play the secondary. So that should be summed up a little bit. And look, it's Baker Mayfield. Yeah, he had a nice season last year, but again, it's Baker Mayfield. How likely is it for him to have another year like he just had last year? Not likely at all. His second wideout is a rookie. Without Chris Godwin, Rashid White also banged up. Atlanta was conservative on offense last year, and you can expect that with a rookie quarterback in Penix. 28th in pass rate over expectation. Both teams lean heavy on efficiency, not explosiveness. And when you combine that with two defenses, top 10 at limiting red zone touchdowns, you don't get fireworks. You get field goals. Classic NFC South football, physical, methodical, and yeah, ugly. Bottom 10 in explosive offense, top 10 in red zone defense. Everyone loves an over in a dome. I get it. They do. But the sharper side is on the under. So give me the under the posted total for the Bucks Falcons.
Bengals versus Browns.
Bengals are laying 5.5. The total here is at 47.5. Look, when you think of the AFC North, you think of a defensive grind. And while often that's true, this game right here has all of the ingredients of a back and forth shootout. Points are going to be scored, and I actually believe that they're going to be scored early and often. This Bengals offense was a force last year. We all know the story. Best offense in football, 472 points, over 6,000 total yards, 6 yards per play, only 9 turnovers, 7th in EPA per offensive play, 8th in offensive success rate. They crushed teams on third downs, 48%. That translates to sustained drives. And now it's hard to target either of these defenses. We actually kind of have to target both of them. So let's do that. In unity, the Bengals and Browns allowed a significant amount of points. They both gave up over 400. Actually, they both gave up over 430 points last year, nearly 6,000 yards. So despite some struggles the Browns had last year, the Browns are going to find avenues to move the ball, especially now that Joe Flacco is at the helm. Expect Joe to take his shots and take them down the field. He's going to be able to push the ball down the field. He has the playmakers to do it, and he has the arm to do it. Jerry Jeudy down the field, David Njoku from the tight end. While the Bengals defense can be opportunistic, it also could be susceptible to big plays. And Flacco, as I said, has the arm talent to connect on these deep shots. This game isn't going to be about defensive stands. It's going to be about offensive fireworks. The advanced metrics all point to a game where points are going to be plentiful. Give me the over in this spot. Love the over in this spot. This will be my best bet as far as totals go.
Dolphins versus Colts.
So we got some fish and horses here. We have the Indianapolis Colts laying 1-2. The Miami Dolphins total here is at 47.5. Look, I actually love the Dolphins in this spot. The market disagrees. A lot of hype on the Colts, and I do get it. They were a scrappy team last year, finished 8-9, but they were all smoke and mirrors. They were 13th in total yards, but they were 18th in points per drive. Now, that's like a guy bragging about how many dates he goes on, but he can't close a jar of pickles. Lots of yardage and not a lot of scoring. Miami, they have an identity. Mike McDaniel, speed everywhere. And then when Tua starts, they win. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Newcomber Waller, Achane out of the backfield against a Colts secondary that ranked 22nd in defensive DVOA. Hill led the league in yards per route. Waddle stretches the field vertically. And Tua, when he's kept clean, top 15 EPA per dropback, which is deadly against the Colts front that's 26th in pressure rate. That means Tua is going to be sitting there, sitting in the backfield, smoking a cigarette, sipping a latte, and delivering strikes all day. And this game is in a dome, so weather's not going to be a factor. Now, on the other side, it's Daniel fucking Jones. Is there anything else really to say? Is he really truly an upgrade or just a better option than Anthony Richardson? Turnover-worthy play rate, nearly 4%. Dolphins defense, they don't get enough credit. Top 5 in yards allowed. Stingy against the pass. Yes, they lose Jalen Ramsey. They also lose Holland on the back end, but that front's still going to be nasty. Seiler, Bradley Chubb, Jordan Phillips against an O-line that struggles to protect. We watched Daniel Jones in New York. He folds under pressures, and I expect there to be a lot of pressure this Sunday. I love the Dolphins in this spot. We have the coaching edge, quarterback edge, speed edge, and the metrics agree. I'm taking the Dolphins to win and cover. This is my best bet for the show, the Dolphins by 10. Lock it in. Let's go.
Raiders versus Patriots.
Patriots are laying 2.5. The total here is at 43.5. This is a brutal spot for Vegas. West Coast to East Coast, play an early afternoon game. The betting markets, analytical models, they're all leaning heavily towards the Patriots. Las Vegas last year was dead last in rushing. 80 yards per game, 3.5 yards per carry. The thought process was that you're going to draft Ashton Gentry, and all of a sudden it's going to fix the run game. But it all starts up front. And that offensive line, middle of the pack at best. Geno Smith needs help. He's not a guy who's going to sit in the pocket and pick you apart. If you remember, even in Seattle, Geno was at his best when Kenneth Walker was at his best. The Raiders ranked 29th in the NFL in scoring. And say what you want about the Patriots, but with Vrabel as a front man, you know that they're going to show up defensively. 30th in points allowed last year, but that's going to improve. I expect the Patriots to limit opportunities and control game tempo. The Raiders, they're rebuilding again. Pete Carroll comes in, takes over at 73. They're still trying to find an offensive identity after ranking bottom third in every major efficiency stat. Their offense is toothless. 28th in yards per play, 27th in third down conversion rate. They're 34%. That's ridiculous. Bottom 5 in red zone touchdown percentage. Patriots, they bring in Mike Vrabel, the best hire in the offseason when it comes to the NFL at head coach. Love the move. I think he's the right fit, the right man for the job. A defensive-minded head coach, and that defense is going to get better week in and week out. You pair him and you pair Josh McDaniel with Drake May, just saying. Tom Brady's best years were credited to McDaniels. If there's any team in the NFL that Josh McDaniels wants to torch, it's going to be this Raider team. And the Raiders defense is absolutely willing to allow it to happen. They allowed the 25th most points per game, 16th in defensive success rate, bottom 10 against the run. This narrative that Geno Smith and Pete Carroll are going to save football in Vegas, ridiculous. This was absolutely a terrible hire. Because when you think of Vegas, you think of what? You think of lights, casinos, action. Bringing in 2 old dudes, it's going to look like Sunday brunch in Vegas. This is going to stunt their growth for years to come. It's simple for me this year. I'm out on the Raiders, all the way out on the Raiders. Just fade the Raiders.
J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. 3 NFL games for this Sunday. 3 straight, 3 two-team parlays, 1 week, $99. His Pro Football Triple Crown must go 3-0 or the entire NFL season is free. J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. Link in the description below. Click the link now and jump on the money train.
Cardinals versus Saints.
Cardinals on the road laying anywhere from 6 to 6.5. Total here at 42.5. Look, the Saints are projected to be one of the, if not the worst teams in the NFL. Their decision to start Spencer Rattler, it wasn't a decision that was made out of confidence. It was made out of necessity, right? It was either him or Shuck, and they just said, hey, fuck it. Pick a name out of a hat. Okay, Rattler, that's who we'll go with. Remember, Rattler last year, 0-6 as a starter. 57% completions, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And I promise you, it wasn't as good as those numbers. It was actually a lot worse, believe it or not. Sharp money already coming in on the Cardinals. The line opened up originally 3.5, jumped to 5.5, now sitting at 6.5. And I'm not sure it's done adjusting. You know the rule here. I typically fade rookie quarterbacks in their first start, but I also fade rookie head coaches. And now Kellen Moore, first game as the man in New Orleans. Remember, the Cardinals have historically started fast. Kyler Murray looked comfortable in Drew Penzing's offense, explosive, balanced, efficient. Last year, 11th in passing. His efficiency metrics are elite. 10th in success rate, 6th in EPA per play. Murray's mobility, James Conner, physical downhill running style, Marvin Harrison Jr. on the perimeter, that's fucking layers of problems. The Saints defense, 22nd in DVOA, 4th highest explosive pass rate. Kyler's legs against an average pass rush. Marvin Harrison Jr. against a vulnerable secondary. And James Conner punishing a run defense that ranked 24th in EPA per rush. On defense, headaches for Rattler, who tends to force throws as is. Cardinals by double digits. I don't think this one's ever going to be close.
Steelers versus Jets.
So the Steelers are laying 2.5. The total here is at 38.5. Now we have a quarterback swap right off the bat. I don't know if Vegas was in cahoots, but honestly, the scheduling here couldn't have been better. Aaron Rodgers goes from the Jets to the Steelers. Justin Fields goes from the Steelers to the Jets. Remember, Justin Fields started for the Steelers last year. Afterwards, he gave way to Russell Wilson. Was it a right move, bad move? I don't know. Sometimes this league is about perception, right? Not reality. And the perception here is Pittsburgh's the tougher, steadier team. Mike Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons. But remember, and I've been saying this for years, we don't take Mike Tomlin as a favorite. We take Mike Tomlin as a dog. Mike Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons, but he doesn't perform well in this situation, in this spot, on the road as a chalk. The Steelers, they often find ways to win, but how do they win? They win ugly. The reality, last year, the Steelers' offense was bottom 5 in explosive plays. They were 25th in yards per play, 29th in red zone percentage. Is Aaron Rodgers really going to be some savior? Is he the solution? Because if you remember in New York last year, to quote Morgan Wallen, he's the problem, right? He was the problem in New York last year. The thing about the Jets here, what do they do well? They defend the pass. 4th best in passing yards per game. 6.3 yards per pass attempt. 4th best in the league. Sauce Gardner, he faced more targets than any corner in football, and he gives up essentially nothing. Pittsburgh's receivers, they feast on contested catches. They don't feast on separation. Matter of fact, they don't get separation. Against the Jets, who are lengthy and physical, that's a bad matchup. Even with DK Metcalf. Narrative matters here, and that's what I'm playing. I'm playing the narrative in this game. The Jets were mocked all year last year. But what's hidden in that mess? A top 10 defense, both pressure rate and EPA per play. Pittsburgh's offensive line is just middle at the pack at best in both run and pass blocking. And now you go from 2 mobile quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers plays the quarterback slot like he has cement shoes, and styles make fights. Pittsburgh wins by shrinking the field, shrinking games, field goals, turnovers. But the Jets are built for low-scoring rock fights. Their defense, they're not going to surrender. They're not going to fold. They're not giving you freebies. Even a competent Jets offense should be enough to cover on the short number. Give me the Jets, the Jets, Jets, as my punchy special this week. That's right, Punchy. We're taking your New York Flyboys with a short spread. I actually think they win this game outright.
Giants versus Commanders.
Washington laying 6. Actually, this is down to 5.5, so the G-men are taking money. The total here is at 45.5. Now, look, it takes money to make money, and I am absolutely spending in this spot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to buy a point, and I'm going to take the Giants up to plus 7.5, and I love this spot. Look, everybody's falling in love with the Commanders. They were the cute story last year. They won a bunch of games. But let's not kid ourselves. They were a house built on sand. Washington was 6-3 in one-score games, converted a ridiculous 87% on fourth downs. That's not coaching brilliance. That's luck. And in the NFL, you can't rely on unsustainable success. There's a natural regression that is absolute a certainty. The public has a problem unseeing what they just saw, right? And what did they just see? They just watched the Giants team that was 3-14 last year. It was ugly, disgusting. Giant football was unwatchable, but peel it back. Against Washington specifically, they lost by 3 and 5 points. Both meetings inside a touchdown. And history says that the Giants travel well when they travel to D.C. New York is 4-1 against the spread, last 5 trips to Washington. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern. The Commanders' offensive line gave up pressure on over 30% of dropbacks, the bottom 5 in the league. Giants defense, even in a down year, could still rush the passer. Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, mismatch nightmares against a shaky front for the Washington Commanders. On the other side, New York's run game quietly averaged close to 4 yards per carry. Washington's defense ranked 26th against explosive runs. Washington's offensive success rate was 47%. They lived on broken plays and bailouts. The Giants, yes, their offense was ugly. It was brutal, but their defense, 10th in red zone efficiency. It's simple. Divisional dogs in week 1 cover at a 60% clip. The Giants were bad last year. They should improve with Russell Wilson at the helm, or at least a little bit, right? He's still better. He's still better and still an upgrade than Daniel Jones. Commanders are simply overvalued here. Expect regression in week 1. Giants are catching almost a touchdown. That's simply too many points. Take the New York Giants plus the 7.5. I think they do just enough to keep this close. Washington wins. Giants cover.
Panthers versus Jaguars.
Jacksonville Jaguars laying 3.5. The total here is at 46.5. And all right, I'm taking Jacksonville at home. They should beat Carolina and actually beat them pretty handily. I feel great about this one. Doug Peterson now out, Liam Cohen in, and coaches changes typically make people feel nervous, but don't overthink it. Jacksonville, the better roster, the better quarterback, and they're playing at home. Trevor Lawrence now entering year 4. He's settled, he's confident, and this offense is built around speed and playmakers. Carolina, rebuilding. Bryce Young, trying to figure out the speed of the league. Last year, they finished last in explosive plays, 30th in points per drive. They don't scare anybody. Jaguars offense, 18th in success rate, averaging 20 points per game. Lawrence has Brian Thomas Jr. on the outside. Travis Hunter joining the mix. Tanks Brigsby average over 5 per touch. Against the Panthers defense, 32nd in defensive EPA. Most explosive runs allowed. 32nd in defensive success rate. Complete mismatch here. Carolina's offense, borderline unwatchable, 25th in offensive success rate. Their offensive line allowed pressure on 33% of dropbacks. Josh Allen collapsed in that pocket against the league's worst offensive line. That's not a fair fight. It's simple for me. Jacksonville, quarterback edge, talent discrepancy, defensive front, and they're at home. Remember, Carolina is still trying to figure out who they are. The Jaguars are faster, deeper, and more efficient. Jaguars win by more than a touchdown in this game. Take the Jaguars.
Titans versus Broncos.
Broncos laying 7.5. The total here is at 42.5. Actually, the Broncos up to 8.5 in some spots. All right, look, my pick here is easy. It's Denver. They're going to roll Tennessee. And I get it. It's the popular pick. Most are on the Broncos here. And you kind of have to be. The Titans, they were stuck in football purgatory. New coach, young quarterback. And look, I like Cam Ward. No. I love Cam Ward. Of course, it's all about the you. But look, the identity is still muddy. They've gone from physical and punishing to flat and predictable. Meanwhile, Denver has direction again. Sean Payton's system started clicking down the stretch. Ball control, efficient quarterback play, and a defense that, despite early struggles, finished strong. This is a franchise on the rise against one of the teams that are basically recalculating. Tennessee's offense was a mess last year, 30th in offensive success rate, and bottom 5 in every category that matters. That's not bad luck. That's just bad football. Now they face a Denver defense that was first overall in defensive EPA per play, top 10 in takeaways. Young quarterbacks struggle against disguised coverages, and Vance Joseph's probably disguises them better than anybody in the league, and he thrives on confusion. Remember, Cam Ward is seeing everything right now for the very first time. Bo Nix struggled early in the season last year, but then the light went on. And it usually takes those 3-4 games for a young quarterback to get it. It takes us 3-4 games for us to kind of have an inkling on whether he understands or not. Denver's offense was quietly efficient down the stretch, 12th in red zone efficiency, top half of the league in rush EPA. Tennessee's defense, they were the NFL's weirdest fucking split. Top 5 against the run, but dead last in passing success. Sean Payton's offense doesn't need to throw the ball 40 times. Just take their shots when their shots are available, against a bottom barrel secondary. Denver by double digits here. I love the Broncos in this spot.
Tell me what you gonna do now. Keep rolling, keep rolling.
49ers versus Seahawks.
49ers are laying 2.5. The total here is at 43.5. All right, we have an NFC West battle, Niners, Seahawks. Everybody thinks of San Francisco, and what do they think? They think fireworks. I'm going to lean San Francisco in this spot. I don't love the game, probably not getting to the window with it. San Francisco definitely has the more talented roster, but Kyle Shanahan's style is about control, run game, short passing, eat the clock, choke you out. Seattle under Mike McDonald is building an identity. Physical front seven, keep everything in front, limited explosives. Both teams are going to lean on defense first, and they lean on structure. And that's how divisional games get ugly. San Francisco's offense is great, but not as wide open as people think. 18th in pace per play, 9th in pass rate over expectation. Translation, they shorten games, lean heavily on Christian McCaffrey. Against the Seattle defense, 11th in opponent success rate, 7th against explosive runs. That neutralizes a lot of big play juice. Now you flip it. Seattle's offense wasn't bad, but it wasn't explosive either. 8th in yards per play, 14th in red zone touchdown rate, 19th in offensive success. They're going to face a Niners defense, 23rd in EPA per play, 31st in red zone efficiency. You bring in Sam Darnold, how much can you truly trust Sam? Do you trust him enough to open up the playbook and let him spray the field? I don't. You rely heavily on Kenneth Walker in this spot. Remember this, Sam Darnold's success last year was contributed to the time he spent with Shanahan. He also had weapons everywhere in Minnesota. You lost DK Metcalf. You lose big play potential. I see this as a work in progress. This isn't the Big 12. It's the NFC West. 2 defenses built to smother, 2 offenses that want to run clock, 2 head coaches who believe in physicality. Points are going to be hard to come by. Give me the under the posted total.
Lions versus Packers.
Green Bay Packers laying 2.5. The total here is at 47.5. All right, so this is both my upset special. I'm on the Lions plus the points. This is also going to be my top prop. If you want the upset special, you want to hear out why I like them, check all socials and you can watch the reel. All right, so here it is, NFC North, Lions versus Packers. And I've got a prop here, my top prop for the show. You already know. Say it with me. It's David Montgomery time. That's right, Monty, anytime touchdown. Football is back, and so is my Tuesday routine. Wake up on Tuesday, the first 3 things I do, and not in this order, but coffee, sex, and bet Monty anytime touchdown. Detroit, best offensive line in football, physical, nasty, and play with an edge. The personality of their head coach. That identity shows up most in the red zone. Dan Campbell, he doesn't outthink it. He trusts it, and he trusts his offensive line. He trusts his backs. David Montgomery is the hammer in the toolbox. Look at last season. The Lions 3rd in the NFL in red zone touchdown rate, 64%. When they get inside the 20, they finished. Montgomery was their closer. 12 rushing touchdowns in 14 games, almost every week in the end zone, almost every week, touchdown. I get it. He's not explosive, but you know what he is? He's reliable. And inside the 5, it's Monty time. Let's go. David Montgomery, anytime touchdown. It's back, week in, week out. Cash it. That's right. Wash, rinse, repeat. Let's go.
Texans versus Rams.
Rams laying 3. The total here is at 44. Lock, stock, 2 smoking barrels. Texans, Rams, and I love the over in this matchup. C.J. Stroud, not a rookie sensation anymore, in year 3, and that means he moves from prodigy to polished. Houston's offense popped last year, top 5 in offensive DVOA. Stroud has complete command of this offense. On the other side, it's Sean McVay's Rams and rediscovered their identity. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, they upgraded Cooper Kupp to Devontae Adams. So one of the NFL's best passing offenses just got better. 2 of the sharpest play callers in football with quarterbacks who finish drives. There's going to be fireworks on Sunday. Houston, 6th in explosive pass rate. The Rams secondary, bottom 10 in defending passes of 15 plus. That's a mismatch. Stroud's going to attack that mismatch. They'll find that mismatch and they'll go deep to Nico Collins. On the flip side, Stafford has LA 14th in offensive EPA, 14th in offensive EPA per pass. Stafford to Puka Nacua in space, that's a problem. Stroud now in year 3. Stafford has all of his weapons, and both coaches, offensive savants. Both defense, they bend in red zones. This game screams points. Give me the Texans, Rams over the posted total.
Ravens versus Bills.
Bills are laying 1. The total here is at 50.5. Now, Bernsey, I saw this game on the schedule, and I cried. See, I have a Super Bowl ticket on the Buffalo Bills, already in pocket, Super Bowl ticket. And it's well documented, my bromance with Josh Allen. But you don't bet with your heart. You bet with your head. And my head, it's in Baltimore. So I'm on the Ravens here. They're going to win this game Sunday night. Buffalo, still a great story. I still think they win the Super Bowl, but just not Sunday night. Josh Allen, big plays, human highlight reel. But last year told us something. They're top heavy. When Allen isn't being Superman, they struggle. Baltimore, the direct opposite. They're balanced, physical, and they can win games in multiple ways. This is a team that has a clear identity. Punch you in the mouth, control the clock, and then they hit you with speed. Lamar Jackson coming off an MVP caliber season. Some say he got robbed. I don't, but some say it. Ravens were 2nd in offensive DVOA, 1st in EPA per play, and it wasn't just Lamar. Derrick Henry found the fountain of youth in Baltimore. Baltimore can dictate the tempo here, and I think they will dictate the tempo. Yes, Josh Allen's dynamic, but Buffalo leaned way too much on him, almost exclusively on this guy. And one-dimensional offense is a problem against Baltimore. Ravens 6th in defensive EPA. 8th in success rate, 14th best red zone defense in football. That's a bad formula for a Bills offense that lived in the red zone. Baltimore 4th in the league in point differential. Baltimore's efficient. You add in the revenge factor after losing in the playoffs on a dropped Mark Andrews touchdown, then you sprinkle in just a little bit of Lamar Jackson magic, and bam, you have the recipe for a Ravens win. Give me the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night.
J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. 3 NFL games for this Sunday. 3 straight, 3 two-team parlays, 1 week, $99. His Pro Football Triple Crown must go 3-0 or the entire NFL season is free. J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. Link in the description below. Click the link now and jump on the money train.
That's right, guys. Get to ylose.com. That's the letter Y, LOSE.com. Free pick, stats, trends, scores, odds, and more. That's ylose.com. And pick up the NFL Triple Crown. 3 max bets straight, 3 two-team parlays, 6-0 NFL guarantee. Must go 6-0 or the entire NFL season is free. That's right. You can pick that up right now. Link in the description below. That's it for me here this week. I'll see you guys back here next week. But until then, remember, bet with your heads, not above them.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my own.